Welcome to day 10 of our 28 days of connections, and today we're going to be focusing on traditional balance. So up to now we've been kind of doing little bits and pieces, thinking about balance in kind of a slightly different way, but this is the practice today, and we're going to think about that idea of kind of balance in its most traditional sense, so the standing on one leg type thing. But actually, the best way to also improve your balance is not just the static balance, but it's the transitioning between different moves, because that's when your weight shifts and that's when you potentially go off balance. So don't just focus on, can I stand on one leg? Focus on the whole journey, and actually you will potentially notice that balance is far more about the movement than it is just about the static pose. So we're just going to start with Guinness licking my foot, which I'm very lucky to have. It's going to come here and hopefully be a good boy for a while. But we're going to start by just settling in. So just closing your eyes, casting your gaze down, and just taking a few breaths just to come into the moment. So whatever's been going on for you today, this is an opportunity just to pause for a second. Just take a little bit of time out, and whatever you need to do, want to do, or feel you should be doing will still be there when you get back. So it's a really good time now just to check in with your physical body. So just take your awareness around your body in your own time, and just notice if there's any parts of your body today that maybe have a volume to them that's louder than the other parts. So for me, for example, quite often my shoulders have a loud volume, or perhaps for others it might be your back. Today I'm particularly noticing the pressure on my foot where it's making contact with the ground. And all I'm going to do is just notice it. I'm not going to say it's good, bad, or whatever. I'm just going to notice it. And in that noticing it, it almost just starts to connect your mind and your body together. Because we often go through our day ignoring some of the volume in our bodies. For some of us to get through the day, we have to ignore maybe some chronic pain or things like that, because we just wouldn't function if we didn't. But this is a really good opportunity just to maybe connect with it, connect with any aches or pains, and as I say, try not to place any judgment on them. Don't feel like they have a value. Just notice them. Almost as if they're a neighbour that you're just saying hello to, rather than just ignoring, as you maybe do sometimes. Because perhaps you feel like you're too busy and you haven't got time to stop and chat. This is the opportunity to maybe stop and chat. And then just bring your attention to the points of contact with whatever it is you find yourself either sitting on or laying on, or because you don't have to sit like me when you start. This practice is about what you need. And so therefore, start in a mindful way that is the best way for you to start today. And it might be different every day. Be brave. Break the mold. And then just turning your attention to your breath. And just again, acting as that almost impartial observer. Just see how it's flowing today. begin a little bit of movement in a short time. So just bringing yourself back into the room after that short pause. I do appear to have a Guinness asleep on my lap, and I feel quite bad now for moving him. Hey boy, Guinness, Guinea. Guinness struggles with balance. He's getting on a little bit now, the 15-year-old Chihuahua, don't you? And sometimes his little legs, they just go out from under him. This floor especially is a little bit slippy. So sometimes he's not always in full control, are you? Good boy. I'll put you up there. Go and see Lola. Good boy. So we're just going to start by moving into our cat-cow. Hey boy. And just to begin to warm up the spine. So a nice gentle movement, not speeding through. Just allow yourself a bit of time to warm up. And if when you're doing this cat-cow, there's some parts of your body that begin to feel like they just need a little bit of a movement, then just move into them. Just begin to allow yourself that freedom to move in a way that suits your body. So just nice and gently. And then we're just going to start a sort of more traditional balance. So coming up very gently now onto your toes. So instantly we can have our hands down in this foggy light position. And we kind of feel secure, and when we're balanced, I guess that's a good metaphor for kind of how we feel. Oh, hello, Bean. But then what we might do is maybe take ourselves a little bit off, so maybe just down to one hand. And then if we want to venture further, maybe down to the next hand. And as we come into that balance pose, things start to switch on in order to maintain you in this pose. And so we might bring our hands into prayer. You might stretch up a little bit taller. What often works with balance is fixing on a spot. So kind of taking your gaze in a direct spot. So what happens if you close your eyes? Now, I can tell you what's going to happen if I close my eyes. I'll probably go off balance, but try it. Ooh. And when you're ready, open your eyes again. And maybe try that a few times, just shutting your eyes, noticing how it sets you off balance. Just because even though your sight doesn't appear to have anything to do with it when you balance, but as soon as you take your sight out, it becomes more difficult. So then coming up, bringing yourself up to mountain, stretching up, coming down. Now you may notice that your feet after that balance with mine feel quite activated, quite stretched. So just maybe give them a little bit of a shake out. And then we're just going to begin by thinking, stop it. Sorry, they're just messing about. By coming into mountain. And again, this is a pose that we do every single day. Standing still. Doesn't feel like it requires any balance. But if you shut your eyes and start to wobble around a bit, maybe drifting back, drifting forwards to one side and then the other, you might notice that there is a level of maintaining stability that's required. And so from this posture, we're just going to reach our arms up and just begin to drift back into that chair pose. Looking up, taking your arms up, building strength in the legs. And then coming up slowly. And then we're just going to move from that into our tree. So we're going straight into a balance. And with this, be kind to yourself. So often we're like, oh, we want to be able to do this tree, this yoga pose thing. If this is your tree pose, that's your tree. If you think about it philosophically, or however you want to do it, every tree is different. And you need to embrace how your tree looks, rather than trying to strive to be an oak tree when actually you're a beech tree. So how does your tree look? Now obviously, the reason we're aiming for a pose like this is because obviously we believe that it's going to work certain elements of our body, etc., etc., and that is correct. But if today this posture isn't the one for you, then don't do it. And as you can see, my foot is just slipping off my trousers today. So I'm going to keep my leg down there. I'm going to lift my arms up. The main thing when you do tree is do not put your foot on your knee. So here, which is often the place where it wants to go, do not put your foot there because there's pressure. Just focus on drawing that knee out, lifting up, growing yourself a few inches, and then taking your arms up and overhead. And then when you're ready, just coming down, returning to mountain pose, taking a few breaths, and then coming back into that chair pose. Again, building a bit of strength in the legs, a bit of stretch. And then coming up and doing your tree on the other side. And again, just see where your tree is today. My trees are not very big today because my trousers are basically, well, I have no idea. I can't force myself into tree today, I don't think. Oh no, it's there. Oh no, it slipped again. So I'm just going to keep mine nice and low. And really focus on the center. And if you need to touch down, touch down. I feel very wobbly today on this side. And if you need a wall, use a wall. And if you feel very confident, then move a bit. Or, as we did with the squat, shut your eyes and notice how much balance is involved, how much your eyes are involved in balance. Ooh. So when you're ready, coming out, shaking the legs out. And then we're just going to do a little bit of a flow. And as I said, flowing between postures is actually uses balance to maintain you. So starting at the top of your mat, reaching up and bending forwards, looking up, flat back and down. Maybe relax off here, Then step back with one leg. And from this position, we're not going to drop down to plank. We're just going to drop our knee for a short time. So in this position, we come into balance in a low lunge. Keeping our toes up this time, so we're maintaining that sort of active foot at the back. And then coming down. And if you want to, you can then lift your back knee, take your hands away and come into the high lunge, which is a bit more challenging on balance. And for a little bit more, taking your arms up overhead. And then coming down, and then maybe lifting your foot up to the front, so to join your other foot. And you may just want to begin your legs in sort of almost like a walking step position. We're just going to start by just taking a few leans forward, just seeing how it feels to stand on one leg. Nice soft knee on the front supporting leg, so don't lock it out. Just noticing how it feels. Come down, come back up. And then for this one, we're going to actually do the full extension, so coming all the way down, nice and slow, don't rush. Leg up. You can take your arms out in front. My foot's wobbling like crazy. And then maybe bringing your arms to the floor, stretching your leg up behind for a nice stretch, and then coming to join them together. Bringing yourself back up. And then we're just going to repeat that on the other side. So taking your arms up, coming down, nice straight back stretch, coming down into forward fold, taking your left foot back this time, giving a nice stretch and then dropping down onto your back knee, keeping your toes curled and coming into your low lunge. And just seeing how that feels. Maybe take your arms up if you want to here. Look up, see how that affects your balance. And then coming down. And then lifting the back knee up. And then taking your hands away and coming up into your high lunge. And just noticing how this balance feels. Really ground down through the centre. And you can keep your hands on your hips here, or you can take them up and look up slightly. And then coming back down, stepping the foot in a little bit, and again, using that transition if you want to kind of come onto one leg. And then just as we did on the other side, just beginning to test out what it's like to be on one leg. Nice and gentle until you kind of feel like you're ready to straighten out. Nice long stretch. And if you wobble, it's fine. Maybe take your arms out. Woo! Wobbling. And then coming down, bringing your leg in. Coming back to mountain. And just now coming to rest in the mountain pose. You may have got your heart rate up a little bit, quicken your breathing, so just take as long as you need to slow your heart and your breathing down. Maybe doing that long exhale. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed doing a little bit of balance work.